What he's done is unbelievable. He's found hundreds of billions of dollars worth of fake contracts, and I read them, just a tiny portion of them, the other night. Transgender surgery on mice, hundreds of, I mean, the money they're spending on all of this stuff, the whole thing's a scam. And you'll find ultimately that the money that they sent comes back to a lot of the people that made those deals, okay? You're going to find that. What he's also done is made people realize how many people should be cut. Because normally you go in and you say, all right, cut 4% of your workforce. He said cut 50%, 60%, 70%. That's a big thing.
That's President Trump with me yesterday praising Elon Musk for opening Americans' eyes with DOGE's cost-cutting efforts, calling him a real patriot. But the Washington Post says companies are warning investors that DOGE's federal cuts could hit the private sector and hurt business. Joining me now is Cardone Capital CEO, Cardone Training Technology CEO, and real estate investor, Grant Cardone. Grant, always a pleasure. Good to see you today. Thanks for being here.
Fantastic interview yesterday, Maria. Great job.
Thank you so much. What's your reaction to all these DOGE cuts?
Well, this is exactly how you handle a takeover of a new company, organization, a department, or something as big as the U.S. government. If it's working, replace the leadership, slide in, and continue to do what was working. In the case of the United States of America, it's a failing operation right now. We're overweight, we're overspending, we're in debt, and we need to fix it. So what President Trump did was this: get rid of the leadership. If there's leadership there. In the case of Joe Biden, there was no leadership. The guy's wandering around doing nothing. So when you eliminate that person, nothing changed. Then you go to the second step, or the next layer, which is start to gut AF as fast as possible. All the people, up to 40 or 50% of the staff, that's unnecessary. If nothing changes, nothing gets worse, you know you're basically getting rid of fat or overhang or people that are not being efficient. The third thing you would then do is start to rebuild the culture. We're in step 2 right now. He's getting rid of the fat and the waste. People that aren't even going to work, people that are not reporting, they can't tell you what they're actually doing. So that won't cost America anything. Will there be a dip? Yes, but actually people are going to be more confident. Your earlier guest talked about people wanting to invest in America rather than Europe. Long term, America will be a much better investment because we will get this fixed under the leadership of Donald Trump.
And what do you want to say about real estate right now, Grant? How does it feel to you where you sit? President Trump, one of his first executive orders, wrote an order about increasing supply. That's one of the main issues here, right?
Yeah, you have to have housing. You cannot get, prices cannot come down if you don't have supply. There's no supply because of regulations. Too much regulations, too much red tape. California, that I know we're going to talk about here in a second, or I would expect, is the perfect example of too much regulation. The government doesn't move fast enough. Get out of the way, build supply. When supply goes up, prices come down. Right. Instead, what we have is under Joe Biden, we had a Jerome Powell that was basically running Joe Biden's administration, keeping interest rates on homes higher. Regulations were still too high. So there was no supply and mortgage rates are impossible. The American people should be fuming right now. The inability to actually finance a house. It's almost 3 times what rent is. It's a disaster. And by building more supply, getting the regulations out, interest rates will come down, and they are already, making it possible for Americans to have that American dream again.
And I wanted to ask you, we wanted to ask you to get your take on this Wall Street Journal report, which says that January's deadly wildfires in California are having a major impact in terms of rebuilding Los Angeles. Will be California's economic moment of truth, writes the Journal, as the state faces a housing shortage. Grant, your Malibu home was one of the thousands damaged by the fires. What is the current condition of your home? Where do you see California's real estate market today?
It is a disaster, Maria. Not one thing has been done other than a bunch of talk. The governor has done nothing. See, this goes back to the same problem we were talking about earlier. If you want to fix a company or department, you get rid of leadership. You cannot make the changes that you need to make with the old leadership that caused the problems. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to fix a problem with the old leadership was there. Karen Bass should be recalled immediately. They should force Newsom to step down before his term is up. Nothing has been picked up. My entire neighborhood.
Wow.
This includes Altadena, the Palisades, and Malibu. Nothing has even been picked up from the locations.
That's incredible. Well, look, now Newsom has this podcast, right? He says he's got to change the conversation in his podcast.
Yeah.
But, Grant, your 2025 10 Times Growth Conference kicks off next week in Las Vegas. You've got some celebrity guests expected to come. Tell us what you're hoping to gain out of this and what you'll call a success when it's all said and done.
This is the largest business conference in the country. People from all over the world come to this event, and basically they get to experience and hear self-made Americans coming from the bottom without connections, figuring out in different industries how to make it to the very top and then transition and keep continuing to grow over time. This goes back exactly to what you're talking about today. How do you lead? How do you build a culture? How do you stay efficient? How do you maximize the opportunities, whether you're running a business, a small business, or you're running a household, or you're trying to get over some terrible event like what happened in California? The sooner you confront the leadership and then get rid of the people that are in the way and rebuild the culture is what we'll be talking about at the 10X Growth Conference, and how America is the greatest place in the world to do those things.
All right, I'll call that the American dream. Grant Cardone,
That's
great
what it
to
is.
see you. All right, best wishes for it. Thank you, Grant.